big board.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. I decided, I think, that we're going to do this a little differently than what we had before. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about attaching the action items or things to do to the milestones. And I came up with a few different versions of that, right? So I think the best one is to do the same thing we did to this near term, where we evaluated if we've started it, where we're at, if it's locked or blocked, etc. for the short term. And then start saying, you know, do we have action items in the scary squares that directly relate to those? And I was also thinking that instead of just saying like who's going to take it, maybe we look at who has the capability to do it, not the availability to do it, and then go from there. What are your thoughts?
So we're not going to decide by task. We're going to decide by feasibility.
Both of those things, right?
I think I don't understand.
Okay, so first step, go through the short term to see if we've started these, if any of them are blocked, if we're set up to do them. Then look at the square on the bottom and see for items like, let's see, where's a locked one that we have or a non-taken one? So the supported highlighted projects or showcase content, we would say, do we have any items down here that directly relate that in the low effort, high impact? And then if we do, we can say who has the availability to do those, or not the availability, sorry, the ability to do those. Does that make sense, or is that too much?
Makes sense. It's just really hard to cross-reference visually, at least for me, but it might not be difficult for the other guy, so maybe this is just a me thing.
The other one is to simply say, to do the matching like we had talked about, to say what items down here match with the milestones. Because essentially, if we all agree on this sort of roadmap, we can share this and say that these are the things we are going to do. And then essentially, it's just assigning items and blocking them off.
Just assigning.
Well, not just, right? It's taking, because we can't really assign people. So that's essentially where the crux is that like we can't say, hey, your job is X, you do this thing, because right now everyone for the most part is working on volunteer or volunteer plus hoping they get reimbursement for it, right?
Can I recommend something? Like, I can only tell you like how I feel, right? For me, this is like, it's visually very overwhelming. And so what I would do is, you said high impact, low effort, right? That's what we're interested in. So I'd literally like copy paste these, put them under here. And then I think, you know, clarifying if they are, if we have them already on here, would become just more easy, because right now they are like down here and you always would need to go up and go down, go up and go down. And this is, I think, what's creating for me a little bit of a struggle. And you said high impact, high effort, you don't want to check out?
It's like basically we want to take the easy ones first.
Okay, then, okay, I copied the easy ones. Okay.
So then I'll do that.
Maybe now it's a little bit easier to visualize, you know?
Sure.
Oh, sorry, I did the white stuff because you said short term, but near term.
I know. I just did this as well because I imagine that this is also, because we're kind of working through near term and about to go into the short term, I think, based on the progress that we already kind of showed in the near term already.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just not. I'm not good with this, with organic structures. I'm not very good with organic structures. Now you know.
That's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for not bullying me about it. Okay, so now we would cross-reference, right? So, for example, additional grants and funding rounds. I think that's something we are already doing, or we have been doing, so it would be definitely near term. But it's actually nowhere on the board yet. So, because it's not really Bounty's DAO initiative, right? So we didn't even have this on the board so far. Should we just, is there something we just drag up here?
Well, so it needs to, so essentially think about the milestones as like the measures of which we are successful. And so can you relate additional grants, funding rounds to like one of the milestones that we've agreed on meeting? If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we kind of haven't. It just happened to be already in motion. So,
right.
And we said it was okay that it is in motion, and then we just went for it, right? Mainly to, honestly, mainly to cover our shortcomings, if you think about it, right? So C3, right? That's covering a shortcoming from our side. We don't do enough marketing, so they will cover for that. So, for example, we have marketing content funnel channels, right? So to expand on that, essentially, or just like, sorry, it's this here, right? We just went with it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. So I guess what I'm saying is I could see that additional grants, funding rounds could be associated with at least these two, onboarding new members and supporting highlighting projects or showcasing content, potentially. And so that's kind of the association that I'm trying to make. So so it's like these are the things we can do to meet these milestones. And if we don't have things we can do to meet the milestones, we have to come up with them.
How can we make these like? I'm such a noob. My goodness. How do you make these arrows? Can you show, please?
Yeah. So let me just delete these and I'll show you. So if you click on this, there's these little dots, and you basically click and hold and then follow to.
Okay, because then I would also make that cross reference, because most of the initiatives we have been supporting are, you know, they are in the direction of covering for the marketing that we ourselves are currently not able to manage. So they do have a connection, I think, to marketing, content, funnel, and channels. Okay, I think I'm getting it. Okay, I will stop bothering you now.
I want to make sure, how does everyone else feel about that? Dale, Danny, Joy?
That's okay.
So essentially what we're doing, like, if you map it to other businesses, we are doing the high level planning as well as like the mid-level director stuff, and then down to like the sort of management stuff right now, which is a lot of things, which is probably why it feels a little overwhelming. But essentially we need to figure out how to start executing on these things. And so it's basically trying to be all of those roles at once. So that's why I keep asking if this is okay, if it makes sense, if there's a different way of thought process, because this is very difficult.
Yeah, it really is. I don't take this lightly. Actually, this is how most of the time my brain feels like when I do stuff for Unlock. I'm like, man, the list is fucking endless. Where do I even start?
It would be different if it was like, okay, Stella, you're like the CEO. Which things do you want to take as your initiatives? You would take like 3 of them, and then you would say, okay, I have this structure underneath me, so now I can assign things because people are paid to do their jobs. But we can't do that here, right?
Yeah.
And so we're trying to figure out bridging steps, essentially.
Stella, the little CEO. Okay.
And like Danny was like the what is it, CTO or whatever, or director of technology or whatever it is. He would say like, okay, these are clearly technology initiatives. I think my engineers can do this. I think my database managers can do this, etc. But we don't, have that support. So
look at us getting all to C-level positions in no time. So sorry, I'm not trying to drag this into a fun setting.
Fine. But does that make sense for the other 3 of you? If you have a different framing, please suggest it.
No, I don't have any suggestions on this at all.
Okay, cool. So we can just take some time, and if you want to, kind of draw arrows and stuff, and hopefully everything is has some sort of thing happening to it. This one's a little easier because we already have most things started, right? Except for, do we have any blocked ones? We didn't. We just have open stuff. And they can have multiple connection points too. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one relationship.
This is getting confusing. There's wires everywhere. This looks like a bumpy UI situation where wires going everywhere. What do they mean?
I can 100% clean this up later and make it.
We should probably use different colors, I guess, for different.
Yeah, you can change the colors.
Because this is starting to look like a circuit. I don't know what's going on.
That's what I'm saying.
Sexy circuit design here.
Diagram.
Some more vitamin intake. I mean, you know, Alex, even if things are not like connecting, I think they're kind of mandatory for other stuff to exist. So for example, the budget planning, right? It's not necessarily connecting to everything, but in fact, it kind of is, you know? So there's also these kind of things. Or for example, lead steward, right? It's definitely all connecting to me somewhat, somehow, but it's not like I need to execute all of it, right? So it's kind of like, it's really hard exercise here. I don't appreciate this hard work.
Well, I guess if you want, we could also just focus on the ones that are open most specifically, because the other ones are already kind of in motion. So that would be marketing, content funnel, and channels, supporting high-level or highlighted projects and showcasing content, and then bounty DAO initiatives, or bounties DAO initiatives. Would it make more sense just to start grouping things under that and move it away from this?
I think, yeah, because this is not very insightful, essentially. I think that's the problem. It's not that this is not good, it's just doesn't create necessarily a lot of transparency. And also, I do think like stuff like, for example, you know, the additional grant stuff, right? I think it actually does belong on this board. Because it is in motion and it has already fulfilled some of its goals, right? Maybe not to the extent we would all like to see, but it's already fulfilling some of the goals, and it should have been part of the roadmap in the first place, I think. Because even with you know, so for example, I think this one specifically, I don't know how to get rid of the error, so I hope I'm not deleting it.
You just click on it and delete it.
But like I would put this somewhere here, for example, where it's between marketing and budget planning.
Sure.
Because this is, I think, where it belongs, you know. And then you made this like emojis, and I think work in progress was the hammer, wasn't it?
Yeah, where are those emoji labels anyway?
Yeah,
so
they are up here.
These are like the label for them, and if you want to put them in, so like I'm on marketing content, you go up to this emoji thing here.
Where?
Are you looking at my screen?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
And then
for
if you want, you
example,
can actually tag and even assign things. Well, you can't assign things because you have to,
so
but yeah, you can add tags and stuff.
Alex, for example, this one, right? I don't know. Can you see the one that I'm
Established
grabbing
roles.
here? Yeah. So it's basically it's a double, right? Because we have half established roles and DAO core team stewards. So it's almost like there's almost the same wording. So
Yeah.
you know that could technically, I think, just go. And
Sure.
the question is if we do need the token listing and token, oh, this is not token listing officer. Okay, I see. Yeah, token listing. Actually, I have a call next week with the head architect of Bancor, so let's see how that goes. Receive buy-in from Unlock Labs. Whoever, I don't remember who of you put this there, but it's the best one. We should get one somewhere here, like between short term and like near term and short term. This is where we should get it.
Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is that this exercise doesn't make sense and it's not working, which is fine.
No.
What? No, this is how workshops evolve, right? So we find a different way.
Maybe it is because we didn't do well on maybe answering the subsections of your questionnaire. We probably almost put the same stuff in there that we did put in the first one, you know, and this is why it has a lot of like direct overlap. You know, it could have been, so I think would have worked probably much better if we would have answered in a way where, you know, have established roles and DAO core team stewards, right? And then people would have said token listing officer, CXO, CTO, CEO, right? So then you could just, you know, assemble these. But because we didn't do this in the questionnaire, like probably us answering more high level than going into details, because we don't yet have the imagination for all of this, because it's so super new.
Sure.
I think this is why this exercise is probably not working as well as it should. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Let's switch gears and maybe revisit this. Let's go through the short term and label them with these same emoji labels.
Okay.
Does that work?
Sounds good.
Oh, copying doesn't keep them. Interesting.
Ooh.
I don't like that.
No. Okay.
This is kind of a Kanban board is what we're doing now. Is that what I'm saying?
A little bit.
Oh, you can, but you know what? You don't have to copy them. Yeah, just drag them over.
It's gonna move them.
That should. Oh, wait, is it delete? No, it's not deleting. Oh,
I just moved them. Okay. So if we could just take some moments to go through.
will you do the emojis again? Will we do like last time?
Yeah, same ones.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to go through them individually?
Yeah, like you did last time.
Okay, sure. Okay, so for develop a business plan for our top business canvas idea. Oh, that is in progress.
It's in progress. Yeah, we're doing it, guys. We're so good. We have so much stuff in progress. This feels so good.
Okay, so then I'll also label this. What is the working group called? Finances and resources?
Yeah, working group finances and resources. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then red is not fun, so we'll just do this.
This is so cool because it creates so much transparency. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. Okay, so outline DAO biz priorities. That is definitely being worked on, right? It's by no means done.
Yeah, I would say that.
It's essentially pitching, pitching what we're doing in the above one. That's the next step. That's actually what we're working on, right? Is the pitches. So there's that.
Okay. Use collaboration tools to make more tools.
I think that is up for grabs.
Up for grabs, yeah.
All right. Working groups, mission alignment, and KPIs.
We're here, aren't we?
I would say it's a little bit of both.
Okay, fine.
I think there's pieces that are there. So we have some working groups. We have a mission. We need some. We have mission alignment, but we need the KPI portion.
And we need to communicate it. That's something we haven't done yet.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to see if I can highlight this. Oh, okay. Working groups, financial plan relates to budget planning. I would say that this is done. Yes?
Yeah.
Nope, nope, not that one. Wrong one. Do we need to add who worked on budget planning? Because that was
I mean, it is a continuous process, right? So every 3 months he needs to hand in a new budget proposal. So it keeps being something that is continuously being reevaluated. And I don't know if it's okay to add something, but underneath maybe we could add financial projection, because that's what is going to happen after the 3 months are over, right? So how much of the proposed budget have we actually spent, and how much do we still have left from that period to maybe transfer to the next period and then create on top of this the next financial plan. So that's like maybe.
I put it over here.
Okay, thank you.
And then ongoing was a hard one to find. I guess it resets every time you go through this. I'm not seeing all of them. There we go. Okay. Specific income generating ideas are in flight. Our initiative is in flight.
Yeah, isn't this like a double with the business proposal?
Yeah.
Do we need this?
You said it's related to which one?
Yeah, to the develop a business plan for our top business canvas ideas. It's essentially to generate novel forms of revenue. Like we could add this just as a text, and then if we wanted to.
Personally, I think we should just take it off and get listings on the listings on the board. It's already too much.
You know, usually Danny and I don't agree on a lot of things about structure, but here we are agreeing on something.
So I think that this is a different thing, though.
You don't want to take it off?
Related.
Maybe you should share what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so the way that I see this, specific income generating initiatives in flight is meaning that like it is nearly working, or it's on its way to being built.
Oh, so it's essentially so first it's the pitches, and
it's
then
more of the ongoing process of those things.
Yeah, so it would be like It would be like for the audiobook publishing thing. It would be like Danny and Dale are like the two people working on it, and they have their team, and they're like going forward on something. That's how I view in-flight.
Yeah, that you do have a point with that.
Yes, he does.
I don't want to put that pressure on you guys now to say that like we are there, because I think we're almost there.
What?
But we're ahead of schedule and time.
How, Alex? How about we just make the phrasing more clear that it relates? So, like something like develop a business plan for our top business canvas ideas to generate novel streams of revenue. Okay. Execute on the novel business ideas that are supposed to generate income, you know.
Yeah,
something.
go ahead. Go ahead and rewrite it.
Yeah?
Yeah, go ahead and write it. Yeah.
Okay.
And that way there's word association and we don't need the arrows. So essentially, we should be able to like, if we are giving updates to the entire DAO, we should be able to say like, here is the sort of, sorry, I'm trying to think of the right word. I can't think of the right word. Like the headline, right? And then all the stuff that's happening underneath it is what we did to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So this doesn't need to like communicate 100% of what it is. Mostly this is just to say what we plan to do for the year or multiple years, and then point to it to say we are doing these things, right? So for this, would you say that this is being worked on or it's on its way?
No, this is not yet being worked on. Because we're not actually in building mode, right? We haven't started to design prototypes or user interfaces. We're really in the pitch deck mode. So.
Yeah. So what other sort of like tag would you put this on? Because I don't think it's just finances and resources. I think there's like an additional group to be created probably. It's called like building or something.
Definitely our lovely liaison engineer.
Yeah, what would you call it, Danny?
I would say planning, building and planning, or like building and execution,
actually,
something like that.
Guys, we have a name for this already. Give me a second.
What is it?
Technology and innovation is the working group.
We have that.
Yes, it's already on the Chamworth. On the Chamworth, it has already its space, but I haven't yet developed that further out. It's quite empty because, well, that's not like I didn't really know yet how to structure that. So after you get the role, let's work on that.
This assignment stuff, I think is doing exactly what I was trying to do over here, because that is basically saying that who would be responsible. So I like that.
Oh yeah, you put David moderator for here, so you
and like working groups and yeah.
So you would want to put Danny here. Okay, put him there. Make him feel the pressure. It's okay.
Wait, Danny's here
too.
He can handle
it.
Because he's doing budget. Is that why?
Oh no! I meant the execute on business ideas.
Yeah.
This one. No, sorry, not budget.
Not David. Danny. Sorry. Well, no, I mean, he would be part of the tech and innovation.
Yeah, like we
just the working group is fine, I think.
But then you put David on working group on this one.
He's on the budget plan, right? Is he? I put plus, but I don't know who else is doing it.
Okay. Well, is it? It's a me, but it's okay. It's fine. I can take it. I only made all the framework. It's okay.
There.
Sad emoji.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't put me there. It's okay.
Okay, formal feedback mechanism and process. I don't want it.
Oh my word.
This is me. I don't want it to be me, but this is me. Who else wants to help me with this?
Formal feedback mechanisms and process?
Up for grabs.
I suggest Joy. Joy's like, what? You're talking to me?
Are you okay with that?
I
You're
saw
on mute.
yes. You're on mute though. She's laughing her ass off. You need to unmute yourself, girl. No, but I think, yeah, I mean, she already created the questionnaire, so that's literally already something she has been working on. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's cool for me.
Okay. Cool.
Stella.
Awesome.
It's cool. Okay.
Oh, what would we change the tag? There we go. All right, cool. Okay, so determine successful use cases to highlight.
Wait, you're not going more to the right. You're going down. Okay.
Oh, sorry. There is only one more to the right. You're right.
Yeah.
Create calendar activities, e.g., airdrop roadmap.
Oh, also let's rephrase. Up rewards roadmap, since airdrop was not welcome.
Okay. But that's an example, right? So that's not. I think calendar activities were.
It could be also the DAO call, right? It could be if we were in charge of the town hall. It could be the newly suggested by you coffee and chill, right? These are all calendared events.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Right?
Okay, so this is definitely going to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
We're working on, and then we're going to say just.
By the way, coffee and chill is a pretty chill name. We'll
like
probably copy that.
I want to see some illustrations actually for coffee and chill personally. But okay, so then financial projection is related to the working groups and budget, which is reevaluated probably less than 6 months. But
yeah, I think so too. Okay.
all right, so now I'm back to the left on the bottom. Receive buy-in from Unlock. I've actually added this sort of like share relationship suggestion, which we're going to do on the second half of this, because we need to have a conversation about how we would like to have a relationship with Unlock Labs and with the foundation. And I think the best way of doing that, correct me if I'm wrong, is to basically have that conversation, collect our thoughts, and then present it to Labs and say, hey, we think this is what we would like to see happen, and then have them react to that. Rather than like constantly being like, hey, can you give me this? Hey, like, why don't I know about this? Or hey, why don't you know about this? I think having a little more formality on who does what and how that's going to change moving forward, however long moving forward means, I think will be very helpful.
Yeah, I couldn't be more in agreement. I also told you I'm happy that you brought this up yesterday as well, even though through different means. But I think the more they hear this from all of us, not just always one person, the more they might realize this is actually an issue, that they keep doing stuff like not with a lot of communication. So Alex brought up yesterday, can I say this quickly? Is that okay? Good. Yeah. So Alex brought this up yesterday during the town hall. He said, look guys, like which profiles for delegates, right? Because Chris said like, yeah, we put up profiles for you guys. And we're like, you know how it is, right? You have these social media profiles, but they're not necessarily all up to date. So no one ever talked to us and was like, hey, what image should we use? What bio should we use? What links do you want to have on there, right? So a lot of stuff just happens behind closed doors. And then, whoa, surprise, the website is already up, right? And you're like, dude, like, could you have talked to us like for a second, and we could have sent you these materials and made sure they are up to date, right? And this is essentially the dynamic we right now have. It's like a kind of drop down. So it's like, hey, here, we got this. Now you got to deal with it. And yeah, then often it ends up causing changes. So
yeah, I think it's an affect of the way things previously were, as in Unlock Labs had to take care of everything, and every once in a while, people from the DAO would do some stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that by us being more serious about what we're doing, that will help. And then obviously, once there are more regularly paid positions in the DAO, I think that like more regular working between the two will happen. So yeah, we'll have the rest of that conversation later, unless anybody wants to like say anything specifically right now.
No, I agree. I think that's what happened. I think there was no one to delegate stuff to or to take the reins, so they just did it themselves.
Okay, so determine successful use cases to highlight. I think this is, what would you call Grunkle Nut? What would you call his group? Or maybe, actually, this would be part of, really based on the label, oh, we don't have it up here yet.
I think it's mostly a marketing initiative, but it relates to what we have set up to the left, which is the live stream initiative. So it kind of closely relates to this, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, like you said, these are answered maybe a little weird just because of the way it was made and whatnot. When I made it, I didn't know this how it was going to drop out, right? There's just data gathering. So, so let's see. So then we've got, is it Ellie or EL?
Wait, where?
How do you spell Grunklenut? Actually, can you add that tag, Stella?
Oh, Grunklenut? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Wait, how do you, this is add tag.
So okay. Yeah, so you click on it, and then you, right next to the emoji, there's a thing that says add tag. You added it, and there it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I wanted to try and give it a different color, because he really likes one specific color that's not on here. Okay.
So there's a little like edit pencil.
Yeah, I gave him violet. He will appreciate this.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I think this is just a work in progress. Yeah, this is going to keep going. So regularly published updates of DAO activities, initiatives, working groups, outcomes, etc. I think I wrote the how on this. Because I think that's yet to be determined. Yeah, right. Because we talk about Charmverse. Some people I think said something about like a newsletter. There's also like how do we communicate outwardly on Twitter or other social media things. And I think Sally, you've been doing a really awesome job with that. But would it be helpful to have a little more rigor around it, framework? Yeah.
100%.
I enter your Germanness.
I will try and reach the applicants today again. That's on my list because yeah, we really need them to respond.
Stella.
But yeah, you know, we do have some updates, right? We do have a little bit on the LinkedIn. We do have much more, I think, on Discord and during the DAO calls and on Charmverse itself, on the task boards. But yeah, it could be much better. No questions asked. It's just a reality.
And to that point, I haven't brought it up yet, but I can see us having meeting fatigue, especially because we're not being paid, most of us, for any of it. I imagine that the DAO call and the town hall probably could at some point like come together. But
we tried that.
We tried that, and it
didn't
failed.
work out.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know. Something I think is in this sort of regularly published updates and that somewhere. Yeah.
I think. Are we thinking that's going to be a newsletter? Is that what we're?
Could be.
Eventually.
Basically, I think that it needs to be something that isn't just Discord and just meetings, personally. But beyond that, TBD.
I mean, you know what was quite successful was the Telegram chat that Lana and Karfi did for the participants in the funding round this time. There was actually a lot of people in there and are quite informed and quite fast in responses. I mean, I think part of this is also that our Discord is very overloaded. It has a ton of channels. this is also why the structured onboarding by onboarding group is so important, because then it will only open up certain amounts of channels. So anyways, sorry, deteriorating.
That's fair. Unlock DAO, user-based, ignography, self-identified or anonymized, or anonymized. This is something I think that's goes along with the formal feedback mechanism and process. It just is an additional step. We had a long conversation about this. Was everyone there for that? That's here. Thank you for fixing my bad
When
language.
was it? Last week?
This was 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Oh, I was here.
So, okay. So essentially it was basically like, we don't need to be searching into our customers, et cetera, because then we're doing the same thing that people are doing. And then I had to explain the difference between these things. So essentially it's just to be able to better serve our community without targeting them or, yeah.
That's how they always say it.
What do you say?
That's how they always say it, though. We just want to serve you better.
Yeah. I mean, I mean it. I have like my own set of ethics based on what I do that isn't what they do. But for people like out of the country, I will definitely need your input on this to say, like, what is not an okay thing to share? Like, do people need to have their countries anonymized and make sure that they're separate from who they are, right? Which is probably something I do anyway, but right. Okay, so customer satisfaction survey from the DAO side. I don't remember this one, actually.
I mean, this is like, so it's almost like you would put them like this.
But does customer satisfaction mean members of the DAO, or does it mean?
Yeah, people who build and who create with Unlock protocol specifically. So not like users of the protocol, essentially. Active users of the protocol, be it builders or creators, but users of the protocol, I think, is probably the most correct term.
That makes sense. So that's definitely related, which is probably why I had something like that. All right. This seems like a whole lot of work. Joey, we have a lot of stuff to do. Looks like.
She wrote me the same thing yesterday. She was like, damn, now I have all of these responses. I think we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Okay, so updated education and help documents or guides.
Mm-hmm.
That would that be technology innovation as the group?
No, that's actually Toby, and that would be.
What's it, the group though?
Yeah, but you're right. It's also connected to you. Yes, but.
I mean, I'm not trying to gobble up anything. Maybe it should be in documentation, like documentation should be a group. Because that is a whole thing.
Documentation and records is his whole own thing. And Toby is the responsible entity for it. But he needs to obviously communicate with you, right? And with the rest of the DAO.
Organizational knowledge.
Organizational knowledge. Look at you. Coming up with new terms on the spot. Okay, yeah. And it's
long tag.
Oh, it ticks. Oh, wait. I'm gonna fix this for you.
Okay.
This is it. And okay. Fixed.
Where did you fix it?
What?
Oh, just documents. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so efficient Dune analytics dashboard for the DAO and our customer segments. So this is related to this.
And it's up for grabs.
For sure up for grabs. Who would even be responsible for something like this?
I would say it's either Danny or Toby. But you know, this is also something we could always ask Chris for us to put together. He would not mind because he's already put the big Dune dashboard and he's quite efficient on it. So you might want to add to this Chris and with a question mark. Yeah. Because I think he would not like, this is the stuff we can always ask him for help with.
Different color that's not on there.
Dune Wizard.
A little bit. Like, I was surprised. He gave me a session a few months back, and just to understand like the basics and how you can call up on specific things from the protocol, because apparently Unlock has a direct integration with Dune. So that makes stuff a little bit easier. I didn't know that. And so he gave me a little bit of a work session, half an hour to like get me understand the basics about Dune. It was really nice of him. So definitely can ask him.
Have other DAO partnerships. That is very open.
Yeah, very open.
I think.
Is it blocked?
Mm-hmm. If you think about it, this is, for example, without him claiming this specifically, but this is what Yongs has been doing for us. Common Ground, Heads Protocol.
Yeah.
Right? This is the stuff he does really well. Like creating these working groups and bringing people together.
LexDAO was LexDAO Yongs.
LexDAO as well.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's Yongs. But just naturally what he does. He cannot help it.
Awesome. Do any of these need...
And Lana as well. What do you think about?
That's less though DAO partnerships. That's more ambassadorship, right? And that's more focused on labs, I think. But
yeah.
Okay. To that point, I was going to ask, do any of these need an additional labs label? Meaning it's stuff that they already do or that they're working on.
Also, I don't think it's a don't do or closed item. It's already happening, the DAO partnerships. So just continues to happen, I think, because the thing is there is some alignment between what Yongs is doing and creating these connections. So he's essentially, indirectly, he's benefiting from introducing these DAOs to us.
Right.
So, you know.
Is it we're allowed to say formal?
Yeah, I mean.
Because I think that's what was meant by this, is that, like, for instance, LexDAO, we have a relationship with them that, like, we will always, if we can, utilize their legal services for anything in the DAO. And,
no,
like,
you're
DAO
right.
of Unlock get, you know, X percentage or free consultation from LexDAO, like something like that, I think is what was meant by this, I think.
Okay, then you definitely need to give it an Unlock label, Unlock Labs label, because that's the stuff that Unlock Labs has been discussing with them. That's something we have not been involved with. Right?
Yeah, but I was thinking more so to the fact that it could increase like protocol adoption, and that is like a DAO thing. It's not just like formal, but also things that are
both.
May not actually be formal.
Yeah, so good examples is, you know, LexDAO, Unlock Labs, formal, right? Common Ground, Unlock DAO, not formal, but helpful. And then, for example, just this last one. And now I don't remember. Cool. Okay,
I'm so sorry.
Hats, maybe.
Hats. Yeah, so, you know, it was a DAO initiative, but after I brought them together, Julian remembered they had talked a while ago, and now they're actively integrating from lab side with Hats protocol. So
they hijacked our initiative. How
I know
could
they didn't hijack it. They took off work from us. This is a good thing, Danny. It's a good thing.
Dare we say B to D or D to D, DAO to DAO or business to DAO?
Oh man, okay. I think
it means formal and non-formal. It's just a bit of both.
Uh-oh.
DAO to DAO framework similar to B2C versus B2B.
Yup. And damn.
Coming through.
We might just be the first DAO thinking about this. We might just be creating a new term, right? D to D, post.
All right. So remember, this is also 3 to 6 months, right? And so if we track based on when we started this, we're only like a month in, I think. No, a month and a half. 6 weeks? Yeah, we're a month and a half into working on this stuff, right? Formally. So, and remember, these are supposed to be like milestones, even though the way we gathered it was a little different. So having formal DAO partnerships is an effect of doing things like Jans is already doing. To like sort of reframe it a little bit, if that makes sense.
I mean,
and if it doesn't, speak up.
Sounds good to me.
What are you gonna say, Stella?
I was just going to say a lot of it, honestly, it happens in an opportune moment, right? If someone feels up for the challenge or someone happens to have come across a specific contact, there's a lot of organic movement in all of these things. I just learned to accept that some of them are organic and I cannot influence them all over time. So yeah, I think it's, yeah, well, I will shut up.
I mean, that's also why it says have rather than like sign and or create agreements and or seek, right? Mm-hmm. So in 3 to 6 months, we should have formal DAO partnerships.
We will. We certainly will. We're doing really good.
Awesome. Okay, so that's the short term. I mean, I feel like we're farther ahead than I realized, and I feel even better than I did when we did the near term stuff. Do we want to label the long term stuff? Because it's supposed to be 6 months to 2 years. I don't know. I don't know that that's necessary at this point, but we could potentially assign working groups to it, maybe. But I think also as we move through the next, 3 to 6 months, that new working groups will fall out if we're successful.
Do you want to know the other working groups that we haven't yet mentioned anywhere?
Well, I mean, I plan on probably making an experience working group, which will take over some of the marketing communication stuff, but that all depends on whether or not the DAO wants to basically, have me as a steward for that, right?
Well, I want you, so.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so please talk about the working groups you already have, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, the only one we haven't mentioned anywhere yet is member relations and governance. So that's the only one that I didn't have on there. For example, for ambassador work, what I did is I created a segment that's called additional areas. So one is the ambassador program that I, originally thought that Lana would be able to pull off, but she said that, I don't know if you guys saw, but she's been taking on some initiatives for like GLM and Glow Dollar. And so she's prioritizing this right now and reached out to me and told me that she can't do it right now. So it's kind of like, it's not its own working group, right? It is rather under additional areas. But I agree with you, we should have a working group that's called experience and community, or like how, like what do you think would be the working group name?
User experience and community.
Yeah, so I probably need to figure out a better way of communicating that, because experience is essentially it would be customer, but it's also how you utilize it's I don't know another word to use for experience right now, but it's essentially the experience you have with the DAO, with DAO products, with the unlock products and protocol, like education stuff. It's like essentially sort of directing and pushing some of those things and gathering feedback to present to those people that are building things, right? So it's more of a service group rather than it's more of a service group, if that makes sense.
I got you. Okay. Yeah.
And can probably utilize input from all of these groups. Not can, will, right? So essentially it would be like, hey, finances and resources, how are you guys doing? Do you need anything? Is it sucking? Like, can we make it better for you or easier for you, right?
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yep. Guys, it's on top of the hour. 5 Minuten coffee pause. 5-minute coffee break. Yeah.
Is it 2-hour day or one? I wasn't
It's
sure.
2-hour day.
Oh, gotcha.
If you want to be here, it's 2 hours.
Gotcha.
If you want, it can be an hour and a half if you want to be here. It's whatever time you have. There's one working group I'm missing, and that's the documentation and records. Yeah.
Yes,
sorry, I just want to make sure how it was.
documentation and records, exactly. And the one that we have not even mentioned yet is member relations and governance.
Okay. Now I have all this. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, as Stella said, top of the hour. Do you guys want a break? And then,
Yes, please.
real quick before that break, do we want to? Again, I don't know that doing the long-term stuff is going to be as fruitful as maybe having the conversation about the relationship between labs and foundations.
Actually,
So-
would love to go to member roles and relations, if that's okay.
Oh, you mean the conversation about labs and?
Yeah, conversation about labs and also different levels of roles within the DAO. So, you know, for example, someone who like manages, a working group, right? Definitely shows more commitment than someone who, sporadically shows up to like drop 2 sentences and leave again. And there's obviously also a middle segment between those two. So I think it's time we were to define these different role levels, or at least have a conversation about them, so we can start also talking about membership NFTs and kind of anchor into the conversation that Young started, which I think is important. It's essentially mixed forms of governance where, essentially your contributions should be valued maybe more than your token ownership.
I don't disagree with that. I will say, will it affect potentially the relationship between those individuals and labs or the foundation? And if so, like maybe it makes sense to have that as a like very brief. We think these are like the 3 sections. And so then we could talk about how the DAO general relates to labs and then get more granular after.
Yes, I think you're right about this. But I think it's a good time to have that conversation, because I agree with you, the 6 months to 2 years, that's essentially, all of it is essentially locked or up for grabs. Right?
Okay, cool. Let's take a 5-minute break, grab your coffee,
Okay,
go
cool.
to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, and see you shortly.
See you shortly.